my headspace that I'm in now is way better than what I was before, and that's the only thing that mattered to me.
You know, he's so economical. Like, he puts pressure on guys without throwing too many punches, and then he starts to figure holes out, and the way he can explode and move in with one shot, my God.
All-time great heavyweights, all right? And it shouldn't be. But he's sparring the level of heavyweight that, you know, more experienced than Jake Paul, right? But Jake Paul has beaten those heavyweights himself, all right?
Gervonta Davis didn't hold back during his appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, delivering a harsh warning to Jake Paul ahead of their upcoming fight. The hard-hitting star made it clear that he's not viewing Jake as a sideshow attraction, but as someone who made a huge mistake by choosing to fight him. When Rogan pushed for more details, Davis boldly stated, "This ain't entertainment no more. This is personal."
Looking at it now, it's just like, I don't know, probably this was a good thing, us fighting. Because you have someone that, we come from two different sides, like, of the world. We still on the same path to get the same thing. You know, I gotta be in there with him. I gotta be able to, you know, his arm reach, his size, his power, the way he moving and things like that. I just gotta adapt as I fight him. I think it's gonna be a great event. Every time I fight is fireworks. Boxing wins come November the 14th. We just giving boxing what it needs, and that's excitement.
From Davis's perspective, this match offers a chance for redemption. Following his draw in March 2025 with Lamont Roach Jr., the first non-win of his professional career, many started to question whether his dominance was slipping. Reflecting on his legacy and status as a world champion, Davis views this fight as an opportunity to silence his critics and prove that he still deserves to be counted among boxing's elite. Even though this bout isn't under traditional sanctioning.
Happy with Tank. First off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What is it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It should say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, so fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, you know, it's money-making purposes only, you know.
Paul has openly admitted that his upcoming fight against Gervonta Davis is the toughest challenge of his career. Despite having a physical size and reach advantage, Paul acknowledged that Davis is a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, whose skill, power, and experience make this his most focused preparation yet. He emphasized that this fight isn't just about relying on his own strengths. He knows Davis brings a complete set of tools, and to win, Paul will need to bring something extra.
Into a fight that I've actually ever been, because I know how good these people are that I'm sparring, and being able to see how good they are and knowing how good Tank is, it's actually going to be my toughest test to date.
Yeah, I think, Jake, you could make the argument, right? Pound for pound wise, this guy's the most ferocious dude in the whole sport, couldn't you?
For sure. I think he has probably one of the highest knockout percentages.
Yeah, 90-something%, right?
Exactly. And just his speed, his elusiveness, his ring IQ, his conditioning. You know, he's gone 12 rounds so many different times, something that I've never even done. So he's going to be sharp all the way through. I mean, the list goes on. And so just actually being vulnerable for a second, it's like, this is crazy. This is scary. It's kind of keeping me up at night.
Jake, how do you prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you? How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, you know, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So Just sparring against guys on their level and and people who have, you know, been doing this their whole entire lives, but we're really focusing on speed, and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to like lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punches are coming.
Paul's rise has been fueled by crossover marketing and spectacle, but this opponent represents his biggest challenge yet in terms of both boxing skill and reputation. A win against Davis, regardless of the official classification of the fight, would significantly shift how people view Paul's seriousness in the sport. The $50 million purse he openly mentioned highlights that the financial stakes have reached a whole new level.
Now we're getting Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. What can you tell me about that? What can you tell me about why Jake and Anthony has maybe been put to the side for now?
Yeah, they always told us that it was, you know, we were looking at that fight for February of next year, and they always said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show. It's entertainment. It's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight. You know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round? I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show, shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business. Now, whether you want to be involved with it is another kettle of fish. I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers.
In a bold move ahead of his fight with Tank Davis, Jake Paul has added Shakur Stevenson to his training camp. This decision immediately grabbed the attention of fans and industry insiders. Stevenson, a 3-division world champion known for his technical skill and defensive mastery, will spar with Paul, helping him refine his speed, precision, and ring IQ. Rather than relying solely on size or raw power, Paul is focusing on enhancing his boxing intelligence and sharpness.
Just sparring, you know, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson Lubin. Some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick.
Training updates have been limited, but what has been leaked offers some insight. Davis's trainer expressed concerns about the fight's setup, particularly the use of 12-ounce gloves, which is unusual for high-stakes matchups, and the exhibition format overall. The trainer argued that given the weight disparity, adjusting the glove size or round lengths would have been necessary to level the playing field. Despite these objections, the fight will proceed under the agreed terms. 10 3-minute rounds with 12-ounce gloves for both fighters.
Paul versus Tank fight is getting really weird. Gervonta looks scared for his life because the rules are out. They're crazy. Oh, so everyone thought that the fight was at 190. Instead it's at 195, and this weight difference is scaring the life out of little Tank.
Over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The next dispute comes with the gloves.
Little Tank is used to fighting in 8-ounce gloves.
Baby glove.
This fight will be in 12. Hands might be too small. Also, Tank just fought in a 12 3-minute round fight against Roach.
Yes, and now he's fighting in 10 3-minute rounds, which isn't too bad. Well done, Jake.
Exhibition though, can he win?
Yes, he can actually win. It will be overlooked by 3 sanctioned judges.
So he can actually still win and knock him out.
But here's the trick. It's body punches only.
And there's a reason. That's because Tank said, look, this is a bit unfair. I don't want to punch up. I want to punch at my head height. Where does it fall?
At Jake Paul's belly.
Oof.
So apparently we've heard there's no knockdown rules, but aside from that, it's a pretty well-rounded fight. Oh yeah, and there's some drug testing involved.
But Jake Paul for the win.
My only concern is, you know, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from, Jake, he fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s, so he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition.
Why's it matter?
What, you know, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these restrictions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tank don't really care, you know? So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, again, you know, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got...
Despite the bout being labeled an exhibition, the promotion is treating it like a main event. Streaming rights have been secured through Netflix, and promotional materials, including a recently released Grand Theft Auto-themed poster, have been front and center in building hype. The undercard has also been carefully crafted, with world title fights scheduled around the main event to add credibility to the night.
With fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering, why has Tank taken this fight? And those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has everything.
For Davis, this fight is framed as an opportunity to expose Paul's record of cherry-picked opponents and prove to the purist boxing world that he's willing to step outside his comfort zone. For Paul, the fight represents what could be the biggest payday of his boxing career, with public estimates suggesting he'll earn around $50 million for this one night.
I'm gonna ask, what are you making for the fight?
You're pocket watching?
A little bit here.
Like, what do you think?
50 to 100 mil.
You're closer on the first number.
Wow, that's so crazy to me, bro.
People are like 200. It's just like, nah. Boxing's not like that anymore. It's a lot of money.
Former champion Sean Porter offered a more personal take on Jake Paul's rise in boxing. He stated that most fighters accept Jake's offers for the money, not out of respect. The paydays are large, and few can resist them. However, Porter argues that Jake still hasn't earned true admiration in the boxing community. The respect he gets is surface level. People appreciate his business moves, but not his boxing skills. Jake's team knows how to market him, but real recognition in the sport comes from facing and beating elite fighters. That's something money alone can't buy. Every aspect of this fight highlights how boxing is increasingly becoming a business-first sport. For Jake, it's another chance to prove he can stand alongside real boxers. For Tank, it's a test of how far his brand can extend beyond the sport. Both are marketing powerhouses in their own right, but while Jake builds his fame through spectacle, Tank builds his through skill.
I like when it's all said and done and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you. And that's the problem with this sport. It's like what Jake Paul did, man, it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby. I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. for an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things. But there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore. But it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking like, I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100.
Despite all the criticism, most people are secretly curious to see how this fight will unfold. Many fans find traditional boxing matches slow or predictable, while Jake Paul brings a wild, unorthodox style full of unexpected moments. Adding Gervonta Davis into the mix only amplifies the chaos. Some viewers who have lost interest in boxing might tune in again, not because they care who wins, but simply for the entertainment. As strange as it sounds, this fight represents exactly what modern fans seem to crave: something chaotic, unpredictable, and controversial.
That's not victory, unless he's landing the right jab, grab, breathe. Meanwhile, Tank's downloading, collecting timestamps. Ever see a big guy wrestle? Yeah, those first few minutes looks like a forklift, but by minute 5, forklift needs a nap. Can a forklift catch a fly? Only if the fly gets lazy. Jake's body will be open, especially after mid-fight when hands start sinking. And when the guard starts to wither away, so will the chin. Body shots don't ask permission, they collect rent. Liver! You don't need to be a heavyweight to fold a man who's exhaling. The small, sharp guy versus a taller frame, seen it 100 times. You touch torso early, you tag shoulders late. The high guard start.
Commentator Wade Plemons frames Jake Paul as a strategic operator who uses fame and ego as his weapons. He doesn't just step into the ring, he creates psychological wars long before a punch is thrown. Jake controls the narrative, building tension, provoking reactions, and turning every interaction into a viral moment. Wade argues that Jake lured Gervonta Davis into this fight by dangling the promise of immense wealth, global attention, and the prestige of a major blockbuster event, making it impossible for Davis to ignore. More than just a victory in the ring, Jake's true triumph lies in dominating the conversation surrounding the fight, ensuring that the spectacle itself is just as important as the result. The clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis is as much about narrative as it is about boxing.
Also, and again, Jake's only been boxing for 5, 6, 7 years now. It isn't necessarily far-fetched to try to have his own advantages when trying to fight other boxers that have been far more experienced than him. But this one's a little too much, right? This one is crazy because of the massive weight difference. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, as far as a sport fight is concerned, I want to make sure I make that clear. Again, this is not me hating on it, because I do think that both guys have been very upfront with what they're doing in this fight and what their goals are with these kind of events. But the narrative Jake's trying to create as if this is like proving anything for him fighting a real fighter when Gervonta is so much smaller than he is. It'll prove something in the fact that Jake is willing to put on great events, but it won't prove anything to the people that are asking him to fight a real fighter. I will say though, if Jake goes out and flatlines Gervonta, the casual audience that will say Gervonta smokes Jake completely and utterly, like it wouldn't even be close, that will change their minds a little bit. Not the people that know boxing, but the people that are going to watch this, the casual viewer that know the name Gervonta Davis and know the name Jake Paul. If he is to compete with Gervonta at all or look good in that fight, people will in some way accept that. Or they'll do the other thing where they just say the fight's rigged.
The fight has deeply divided the boxing world. On one side, purists criticize it as an insult to boxing's integrity, pointing to the massive size difference and the exhibition label as evidence that this is more spectacle than sport. On the other side, supporters argue that this bout could be exactly what boxing needs, bringing in fresh eyes, attracting diverse audiences, and offering a chance to modernize a sport some believe has become stagnant. Fans of Davis see this as an opportunity to highlight the gap between circus-style events and true fighting skill. Meanwhile, Jake's supporters view him as someone breaking down barriers, injecting star power and entertainment value into a discipline in need of youth and relevance. The debate bridges generations. Those who view boxing as an elegant, disciplined art form, and those who see it primarily as high-octane entertainment. Regardless of where one stands, the fight undeniably succeeds in one aspect, getting everyone talking.
And number 3, the retirement.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. What'd you say, number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean, that's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups. You know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it. But it is kind of crazy. It is kind of corny. You know what I'm saying? If he not gonna fight Shakur, and if he's standing on it like, I'm not ever gonna fight you, I'm not doing you no favors. And all right. But then again, you know what? I don't know what them guys got going on. I don't know what they've been through personally. You know what I'm saying? But would I love to see that fight? Hell yeah, I would love to see that fight. And then number 3, you said what? You said
retirement.
The retirement. Oh, boxing. Boxing. They're around. They're around. It's always gloves around. It's on you. It's on you. I'm chilling. You all right? Yeah, get with me. I know. How you feel? Dark skin boy. That's my man. The retirement is like he done a lot in his career, right?
If Jake Paul wins, the sport could see a shift toward more influencer versus pro events, where star power and theatrics take precedence over merit and rankings. While this path might attract massive attention, it could also risk sidelining true champions and dilute the sport's legitimacy. On the other hand, if Gervonta Davis wins decisively, it could reaffirm that experience, technique, and boxing fundamentals still outweigh hype and spectacle. This fight isn't just about 2 fighters in the ring, it's a statement about the kind of boxing the world wants, one rooted in craft and honor, or one driven by clicks and theatrics.
The algorithm loves it, and both will watch. It's not just who wins, it's what wins. Will the entertainment value or the ring IQ come out on top? Because if Tank dominates, the meme dies. Jake Paul survives or hits it big, we see new rules are going to be written in real time. Me, you, maybe everyone at some point has been that bigger guy thinking that I'll just bully him. Jab, slip, liver shot, sat me down real nicely. Size helped until it didn't. All I'm saying is let's not dismiss something because it looks weird. Many fights get decided by the details. Feet before fists, timing before muscle, discipline before clout. Look, Tank wins if he stays Tank. He's built on patience, traps, explosive counters. That's hell for a tall guy who gets eager. Jake's long.
Tank or Jake, who do you think will win this one? Subscribe and drop your prediction below.